She said at least over the year. He said there's something we need to work with the strategic. So maybe a little bit of time to do it. Since she probably agree. Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to orders. Ms. Clerk, if you don't mind to read the minutes from the previous board meeting, please. And these are relatively lengthy, but we want to make sure that everyone's kind of brought up to speed on the last meeting. So there's a couple of actions that will be taking place after that you'll understand to be able to be justified with understanding the minutes. So please, if you don't mind. Okay. Please, would you like to go ahead and do that?
Yes.
Okay, please call the roll call of the members present.
Okay, Eric Griggs,
Present.
Hondo Hearn,
Present.
Pam Hood, present. David Johnson,
Present.
Ben Rose,
Present.
and Mike Briggs is not present. Okay. At the last meeting, October 17th, 2023, present were Hondo Hearn, Ben Rose, Eric Griggs, Mike Briggs, David Johnson, and Pam Hood. We also had some visitors from the community, including and the mayor and Scott Graham, attorney. Chairman Hearn called the meeting to order. Chairman Hearn mentioned that Brandy Wells is not present tonight. Chairman Hearn presented a simplified Robert's Rule of Order. Before speaking, you must be acknowledged by the chairman. That way everyone is heard and there is good order. Old business. Minutes from the prior meeting were read by Chairman Hearn. Commissioner Hood made a motion to accept the minutes as read. Commissioner Johnson seconded the motion. Mayor Willie Means asked what the street lights of $10,000 was for. Commissioner Johnson explained this was regarding the street lights, Christmas lights, garland, and flags. The motion passed unanimously. Chairman Hearn introduced Donna Webb so the commission knew who she was and asked if there were any questions for her. There were none. Pumpkin Festival refunds. Donna Webb noted that there were a couple of emails received saying that they had not received the refund. Commissioner Hood responded to the emails regarding refunds. Commissioner Hood has passed along the email address to Donna Webb so she could monitor the email request. Chairman Hearn read the executive assistant job description. The executive assistant of the Tourism Commission will attend all commission meetings and take minutes to prepare a report to be emailed to all board members within 2 weeks of said meeting. Furthermore, the executive assistant will work with officers regarding meeting agendas and keeping all members updated with scheduled meetings. Additional duties will be to input bank details into the QuickBooks program, reconcile accounts, and produce monthly reports, profit, loss, and balance sheets. These monthly reports and bank statements will be presented at each meeting. Commissioner Rose spoke to the fact that it is an at-need basis currently at $25 an hour contract labor. The time calculated will be by the contracted employee that will be gauged by the committee and approved by the chairman. The executive assistant works under the supervision of the executive officers, the chair, vice chair, and treasurer. Time will depend upon the number of hours needed and approved by the chairman of the commission. The executive assistant will be issuing checks but will not be signing the checks. Commissioner Hood suggested not limiting the time until we determine how much time is being used in the next few months. Mayor Means asked if the executive assistant would be bonded, but since the individual in the position would not be signing the checks, no bond would be needed. Commissioner Briggs also added that the executive assistant would be issuing checks on behalf of the board as needed. It was also stated that we have a credit card and debit card that the executive assistant would be responsible for securing these if requested by the chairman. Commissioner Briggs made a motion to accept the description and Commissioner Rose seconded the motion, passed unanimously. Chairman Hearn presented the rental agreement that was in the packet that Mr. Craig Dawson provided. All board members had an opportunity to see the back office space. The option is the board's decision as to where the meetings are held, but the bylaws will have to be amended. Commissioner Briggs would like to make sure that we can place signage so everyone knows where the commission is located. Commissioner Hood feels like it would work well for us. Commissioner Johnson asked if we needed an office without a director. Commissioner Briggs mentioned that we need to get boxes of stuff out of the city office, and furthermore mentioned that once we have a location, it will be easier to have some things for sale and have a home for the commission. Because the commission owns the old firehouse, this may be a temporary solution depending on what the board decides what to do with that building. Commissioner Briggs asked for Mr. Graham to give legal advice. Mr. Graham had no issues with the rental agreement. Commissioner Briggs made a motion to move forward with a month-to-month rental of the back office of the depot for the office space. Commissioner Hood seconded the motion, and Mayor Means suggested that we start this as of November 1st, 2023. Commissioner Briggs modified his motion. The motion passed unanimously. Commissioner Briggs asked if the inflatables would be out of our hands until after Halloween. Commissioner Rose said that they wanted some for the Lions Club trick or treat, and that there may be some left over to be used around in town to dress things up a bit more. Commissioner Briggs said he would work with Tommy Mays about how much is used in town. Commissioner Johnson mentioned that the commission had come in under budget for the fall decorations, around $1,500 instead of $3,000 budgeted. This was just a point of clarification with no motion made. Chairman Hearn brought up the brochures. Commissioner Briggs said that there are a lot of brochures at the city office. The commission had dropped down to 22,000 to 24,000 brochures to be printed. The amount is divided between several counties: Lee, Wolf, Estill, Powell, City of Stanton, Clay City. But the commission needs to make sure where we are at and getting paid for their portions. The commission needs to get these distributed. There are 25 boxes of brochures, 2 of which are enslaved. The commission needs to get new brochure holders into businesses and see if they will continue to keep it full. Chairman Hearn asked if the board was going to do that or if we were going to hire someone to do it, and stated that the commission needed to first find out who would accept the racks and then how they would be maintained. Does the commission want to take care of the racks or pay someone to do this? All commission members agreed that they didn't have time to take care of this and asked if anyone knew of anyone who could be hired. Mr. Graham presented the thought that the commission would ask the high school about participation by high school students in the business career path, and the commission could make a donation that would help them with the cost of the conference, etc. It was suggested to be tabled and then come up with some names before the next meeting. Commissioner Johnson will confer with Allison Hayden about getting her class involved. Commissioner Briggs made a motion to table, and Commissioner Johnson seconded. The motion passed unanimously. Chairman Hearn went over the questionnaire that will help the commission to get a clear understanding of what the thoughts are of the individual members about specific issues regarding the responsibilities of the commission. Chairman Hearn went through every question to make sure the questions were clear to all members. All members filled out the questionnaire and submitted it to the executive assistant to tally for discussion at the next meeting. Chairman Hearn said the findings will be emailed out so the board will be able to analyze the information. Report from Chairman Hearn regarding the correspondence with the city. Chairman Hearn said that at the last meeting, it was agreed upon by the board to request the QuickBook files and the checks from the city office. Chairman Hearn had stopped by the city clerk's office about getting the QuickBooks and checks. The clerk said that it would have to go through Mr. Graham. Chairman Hearn had seen Mr. Graham at the Farmer Banker Field on September 29th and requested a meeting with him. After not hearing back from him, Chairman Hearn reached out for a meeting that took place on October 11th with Mr. Graham, Mayor Willie Means, Commissioner Briggs, Vice Chair, and Chairman Hearn present. Chairman Hearn requested again at the meeting that the Stanton Tourism and Convention Commission receive the QuickBooks and checks to turn over to the executive assistant identified in the previous meeting. Chairman Hearn was informed that these could be picked up on October 13th. Donna Webb, executive assistant, went to the city clerk's office on October 13th and was told by Ms. Koontz, city clerk, that Mr. Graham did not release those. Donna Webb also stopped by the mayor's office and let Mayor Willie Means know that they had not been turned over. Mayor Means did present Donald Webb with the bank statements from January through September 2023, as well as transient and restaurant tax reports for the same period of time. Chairman Hearn consulted the bylaws, section 16.01, which states the commission can choose to employ a qualified person entity for several different services, accounting included. Chairman Hearn had confirmed with the League of Cities that the commission should make a decision of independent accounting along with separate banking and EIN. Mr. Graham said that he didn't feel that Chairman Hearn represented the meeting correctly. Mr. Graham and Mayor Willie Means didn't recall the request. Mr. Graham said additionally that he had explained that the auditors have some concerns about the commission being separate. Mr. Graham said that he thought the agreement at the time of the meeting was that they would come to this meeting to discuss it. Commissioner Briggs said he agreed with Mr. Graham about how the meeting ended, with more discussion to take place at this commission meeting. Commissioner Briggs said he did hear Chairman Hearn ask the executive about the executive assistant acquiring QuickBooks and checks, but stated it was on his way out of the meeting. Commissioner Briggs further commented that it was before the board at this time and the commission needed to clarify what actions were to take place. Commissioner Hood suggested that the commission ask right now for the books, checks, cards, etc., and take a vote right now. Mr. Graham asked why the commission wanted to have the books and checks. What is the issue? He then said that the auditors or city council may have concerns with the separation of the books. Commissioner Rose expressed concern with all the board knowing what is going on. This current commission hasn't been made aware of these things, nor the balance in the bank account to make clear decisions. Mr. Graham said the bank statements were provided for the year, but the commission has not been provided with how things have been spent. For example, David Baker has not been paid for several months for the agreed lease for the drive-in. No one had an answer to these things. Commissioner Griggs stated that leaving something alone because it's always been done that way is not a valid reason to keep things as they are. He stated that the commission is a business and that it was important to know the details because without this knowledge, it would be difficult to make sound decisions. Commissioner Griggs asked why the city council would have problems with the commission knowing what's going on and having the transparency and clarity of the financials. The commission will be liable for the actions of the checkbook. Mr. Graham stated that the city is more important because they ensure the taxes are all accounted for and that they need access to all the information. Chairman Hearn expressed the concern that Mr. Graham was making it out to be that the commission was incompetent of handling their finances. Mr. Graham disagreed, and Commissioner Griggs asked for additional information with good business questions. Mr. Graham stated that Mrs. Koontz has been taking care of the checks for 2 decades, and he feels that she is competent to continue. Commissioner Johnson said the bigger issue is getting a report each month because that he has access to the bank accounts, he can't make heads or tails of the information regarding what is being spent for what. Due to not having a director, there are a lot of holes in the commission needing information that are not currently, the commission needing information that they are not currently receiving. Commissioner Johnson said that the commission is under the city audit, and it was expressed that we would have issues if we are separated. Chairman Hearn made sure to acknowledge that it is the duty to carry out the wishes of the board, and that was what he was trying to do. In saying that, he also brought up that the board would be the first ones that would be liable if things were not done correctly. And with that liability, the board needed to not only be making the decisions, but also have control over the implementation of those decisions. He further stated that when he took the chair of this commission, he expressed his concerns over complete control over the keeping of the books and writing the checks. Once again, stating that the League of Cities has stated that it is our prerogative to do so. Ultimately, it is the board's decision. Mr. Graham asked Mayor Means to support him in the city continuing to write the checks and do the reporting. The mayor conferred that things needed to stay the same, the way that they are. Mr. Graham said that things have been moving along fine and that it does not need to be changed at this time. The board is new and That is a lot to take in. Commissioner Hood asked how the commission can make decisions based on not really knowing the details. Mr. Green said the bank statements and tax returns were submitted to Donna Webb, but Chairman Hearn stated that there is no accounting for what these checks were spent for. There are no details or basic information to conduct business. Commissioner Hood asked if there was a reason why the commission couldn't at least have a copy of the books. Mr. Green said that that would be an auditor's question and that the city clerk was out this week. He further stated that the auditors did express concerns about turning the information over to the commission. Commissioner Hood asked why they would have concerns and why they wouldn't be concerned about us not having information needed. Mr. Graham said he didn't think it would be good to have two sets of books where a change could be made on one, but that he wasn't very familiar with the program. Commissioner Griggs spoke to the concern with QuickBooks and how the commission can use a read-only copy where they could see the books in real time but without any way of changing anything in the system. Mr. Graham said that would be great, but that he would have to confer with the auditor and that if the commission felt strongly about this, they would try to work on this to get it accomplished. He stated that if there could be a read-only file, he couldn't speak for the city, but thought that they would be happy to provide it. Commissioner Griggs made the point that the financials are still going to have to make sense. Commissioner Rose mentioned again that the board isn't aware of where the money is being spent and would have to approve each year. The mayor stated the commission put together a budget, but Commissioner Hood stated that the commission did not put the budget together and that it was just presented to the commission to be signed. Commissioner Griggs agreed with Commissioner Hood's statement. Mr. Graham stated that there won't be more than 100 checks annually. Commissioner Johnson said that he feels we are getting caught up on the check writing, which he feels can stay with how it is currently being done, but he does feel that the commission needs accurate reporting. Chairman Hearn wanted to know how the board would forecast without knowing the facts of the account. The commission needs to know what they have the ability to fund the actions of the board. Commissioner Hood stated that she felt that the commission needs to have its own legal assistant that represents only the commission. She stated that she felt that Mr. Green had a conflict of interest and that the commission needed separate legal counsel. Commissioner Briggs stated that the commission needs more accountability from the city since we do not have a director. The commission had decided in the last meeting that they needed to get a grasp on the finances to get an amended budget done. Commissioner Griggs said that the commission needs to have read-only access to a live set of books, putting aside the keeping of books and writing the checks. The mayor and Mr. Graham stated they felt like the city would be okay with giving read-only access to QuickBooks. Chairman Hearn stated that the board needs to decide where they want to go from here to get the commission up and going by the first of the year. The mayor stated that it could be revisited at some point in the future as well. Commissioner Briggs stated that he needed to have things by the next meeting from the executive assistant. Commissioner Johnson wanted to know if we needed a motion to access the read-only files of QuickBooks from the city. Both Mr. Graham and the mayor stated that no motion was needed, but that it was an understanding that they would work with the commission to get the information needed. Commissioner Griggs asked if there was a commitment from Mr. Grant and the mayor that there would be a QuickBooks account set up so Donna Webb could review the accounting and a read-only live file. Mr. Graham said that the city clerk, Ms. Cates, would be back on Monday and that he would speak with her and the auditor. He stated that unless there was some reason that he was not aware of, the request would be taken care of. Mr. Graham said he would contact Commissioner Briggs for help in making sure the books are viewable as requested. Commissioner Griggs stated that this is a happy medium for the moment for instant visibility. Commissioner Johnson stated there have never been any audit issues, but no transparency. Commissioner Rose wanted to know why the board couldn't take control of its finances, why they wouldn't want us to. Scott, Mr. Graham, so sorry about that, said he had the same question. Why would we want it? But it was pointed out again that it is the board's responsibility. Chairman Hearn stated that we are the Tourism Commission and it's our tax. Mr. Graham disagreed and stated that these aren't tourism taxes. He stated they are restaurant tax and transient room tax. These taxes are imposed by and collected by the city by ordinance and are used for tourism, but they are not tourism taxes. Commissioner Hood asked if we had to give 50% of the budget to the city parks and recreation, and Mr. Graham stated that it was an agreement that was entered into several years ago. Commissioner Hood asked if the board had the right to vote differently on how much is given to the parks and recreation portion of the city. Mr. Graham said the board may, but before that happens, he would need to look at the agreement. Commissioner Hood wanted a special meeting in a couple of weeks. Commissioner Griggs said that we should wait for the monthly meeting so we have some time for the executive assistant to evaluate the needs and report what she can do and then go from there. Sorry, my eyes are killing me. Mr. Graham said he would attend when requested and again assure the commission that the city would do their best to provide whatever the commission needs. Commissioner Johnson said he doesn't think we should look at it as being adverse to each other. Commissioner Hood made a motion that we table this until the next meeting when we have more information to decide on the financial situation. Chairman Hearn clarified that we need to get the financial information requesting the city of Stanton transfer the QuickBooks read-only access files so we can determine the financial situation of the commission. Commissioner Griggs stated specifically that the city is to provide QuickBooks read access and login. The bank statements will be provided along with the tax filing documents for restaurant transient taxes. Chairman Hearn restated the motion as he understood it. A read-only file for the QuickBooks will be provided to the Stanton Tourism Commission to be able to observe and reference in moving ahead on forming budgets with details of bank statements, electronic transfers, etc. Commissioner Rose asked if the executive assistant would be able to give an account at the next meeting given the timeline. Mrs. Webb assured them that she could. Commissioner Briggs seconded the motion. Commissioner Griggs once again stated for clarity that the commission wanted a live login with real-time data, not a backup on a zip drive, so the commission would know up-to-date information. The motion passed unanimously. Chairman Hearn stated that Commissioner Wells stated she would be stepping away from the board. She sent Chairman Hearn a resignation. Chairman Hearn stated that the restaurant side, Pete Thomas, would need to be notified of the vacancy. It was stated that Commissioner Wells must put this in writing and send it to the City Hall. Mayor Willie Means said he wanted to mention that there were 5 resignations this year, and 5 were appointed to this commission board. Commissioner Wells was one of those, along with Commissioner Hood, Commissioner Griggs, Commissioner Hearn, and Commissioner Rose. Each was completing a term. So, 3 board members whose term on the board will end at the end of this year. Commissioners Hood, Wells, and Griggs' terms will end this year. The 2 chambers will submit names and the process will start again, and then those names will be sent to the mayor. The mayor stated that a decision must be reached on whether these members must be reappointed or replaced. Commissioners Hearn and Rose's terms will end at the end of 2024. Commissioners Johnson and Briggs' terms will end at the end of 2025. The mayor stated that 3 years is tenure. Commissioner Griggs asked why you would bring someone in for a few months. The mayor said it was the way it was set up. Commissioner Hood and Commissioner Griggs both stated that they were told it was for longer commitment and that it seemed like a waste of time now if they only serve for a few months. The mayor said he misspoke and took responsibility. Mr. Graham said that there had to be someone to finish out the term, but that doesn't mean that the commissioners couldn't be reappointed. Commissioner Briggs and Johnson are in their 2nd term, and some have served up to 3 terms. Commissioner Hood resigned after stating that she felt that the city was just using these members and that she felt that things were not ever going to change. Commissioner Briggs stated that the mayor could have addressed it differently. Commissioner Griggs gave his opinion on this matter as well as stated that if he knew it was only for a few months, he wouldn't have bothered with this appointment. The mayor said the time frame is on a calendar year. The mayor stated that the chambers would give 3 names each, and then the mayor vets the individuals and makes the appointment, and then the city council makes the final decision on who gets on the commission. Commissioner Griggs made the motion to adjourn, and Commissioner Johnson seconded. The motion passed unanimously.
Thank you, Ms. Wade. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as read?
Make a motion.
There's a motion by Commissioner Rose,
Second.
second by Commissioner Griggs. Any additions or deletions to the minutes? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are those opposed, like sign? And it's passed. Just briefly, before we move on, I want to make sure that everyone knows that we're following, and you all have the opportunity to speak, we're following Robert's Rules of Order, where you are to be acknowledged by the chair so that each person gets the opportunity to speak. So if you would like the opportunity to speak, if you'd be so kind as to raise your hand, I'll acknowledge you and you'll have the chance to speak, and then that way everyone will have a chance to voice their opinion if they would like to. Commissioner Hood, I believe you want to address the commission.
Yes, I just want to apologize to the commission. I felt angry at the way that things were told to us, that we were only going to be on there a few months after putting in the research and doing the work to do this job the way it should be done. And I left them very mad. I'm still not happy with the situation, but I will abide by it. And if I don't get back on the commission, that doesn't mean I won't be here to voice my opinion. And I appreciate the commission and what they're doing.
Thank you. So you withdraw your resignation?
I withdraw, yes.
Okay, excellent. And there wasn't any formal submission, so there's no reason to make any type of motion on that is understood. In your packet that you have the formal resignation of Miss Brandy Meadows Wells. You see that by email, and I wanted you to be able to acknowledge that for your records to be able to keep. And so, following up with the old business, we had the opportunity to receive, I have to say that Mayor Means and Teresa were very forthcoming with information. They gave us a copy of the QuickBooks files, but the QuickBooks files that they gave us was a version of QuickBooks that we did not have access to at our offices. That I think that once the commission gets established in the new location, that we will be able to get the version that's required, but at this time we did not. So Executive Assistant Webb submitted all of the items that she thought necessary to be able to give a full outlook on her financial situation. And with that said, Ms. Webb, if you don't mind to present what your findings were. And we have copies so you can lead us through that if you don't mind.
So I provided each of you with a statement. Just pull that out and keep that out because there's some other things in regards to the Excel spreadsheets that were provided also by the city that we'll get to later. But in regards to the financial analysis, first, in looking at the financials and the budget for 23-24 fiscal year, I noticed that the budget line items didn't always correspond to the QuickBooks line items. So we have a budget. The budget is in here, which was approved. But when we're getting the financials, it's not lining up with those. There are also vague category line items like miscellaneous revenue, other types of income, miscellaneous revenue, special events, other. There is also reporting of expenses in the wrong category line item. This makes it very difficult to really see what is going on. So example, the drive-in, what it's costing. The utilities are sometimes put in utilities for the drive-in, and other times it's just put in utilities. So it's just really, it's just really confusing about where things, are. Let's see. Other times it's just utilities and there isn't a category in QuickBooks for utility bills, for Christmas lights. So we have 3 different categories of utilities and they're kind of just all spread out in between 2 categories within QuickBooks. It is just complicated, not clear on the budget line items and how the funds are actually being spent with the current bookkeeping. The current approved working budget as provided by by Commissioner Hood is not correct in the QuickBooks. So if you look at, there's a balance sheet there, and I'll address that in a minute, but if you go to the 3rd page in your little booklet, there's Stanton Tourism Convention Commission profit and loss budget available. So you see the actual expenses of July through October, and then you've got the budget amounts, and the budgeted amounts are not what was approved, and so it's very difficult to translate that. So I have done some of that for you on the front, so that's what this Excel spreadsheet is. Let's see. Second, City of Stanton, 50%, 2022-2023 fiscal year restaurant tax income was $420,079.09. Transient tax was $13,342.73 for a total of income of $433,421.76. Restaurant tax expense was $347,623.06. The expense line item included $130,000 for the purchase of the fire station. This leaves the expense line item at $217,623.06, which is 50%, which is what was agreed upon. For the 2023-2024 fiscal year, as per the profit loss report, restaurant tax income is currently $88,855.45. So if you'll go back to that page 3, that is what is reported there under restaurant tax. $88,555.45, and then transient room tax is $51,51.44. And that gives you a total income of $94,006.89. Restaurant tax expense is $36,832.99 through October 31st, 2023. That is actually below the 50%, but this is very complicated. So, Teresa did give me a list, and you'll find it towards the back. She gave me a list of, it's actually the very back, of what was paid, for restaurant tax expense, which is the 50% that goes to the city, Parks and Recreation. And since July, we've paid March, April, May, June, July, and August. So she stated, and I have that noted in here, she stated that, it was behind when she took over the books and writing the checks earlier this year. So she has been trying to catch that up, and she would typically pay that within the month after. So that has been getting caught up. But we currently do still owe for September's. So if we added that into it, we currently owe we currently owe, what's my place? If we pay what's currently owed, which is $17,718.99 for September, then we will be at $54,551.98 paid to the city, and that will bring us up to 61%. But this may be explained by my next point. As for the tourism transient tax spreadsheet, it is also showing that 50% of both transient tax and restaurant tax are being paid to the Parks and Recreation. So I was trying to reconcile the restaurant tax Excel spreadsheet to the income shown on the profit and loss, and the numbers are as follows. So what's happening is June is reported in July, July is reported in August, blah, blah, blah. You know, each month it's a month down. So when I looked at the spreadsheets that were provided to me, if you'll flip on, let's see. When the spreadsheets were provided to me, they actually had, those with me. I've got a copy of them. They had, $142,000 in restaurant tax income, but we're only showing, as stated on this spreadsheet, we're only showing $88,000 actually in the bank, as income for this year. So I'm not real sure what that difference is. So all of these on the statements, June, July, August, September, which were all received, this is a total of $142,998.95 in restaurant tax. The profit and loss through 1031 is only showing restaurant tax of $88,855. So there's a difference there, as you can see on the front of $54,133.50. And I apologize, I will get to see what I've done with those spreadsheets. So if y'all want to just walk through these with me, I have put the budget down based on what was approved by the board in the first two columns. And then 4 months of July through October, which is adjusted just a little bit because there was other income that's not showing up in the account. And there's also the payable of $17,718.99 of restaurant taxes that we are still behind on. And so we actually have adjustments. Our total income should be $142,998. If I make that into 12 months, that would be $428,000 income projected for the year. And if I project based on the 50%, then that would be $214,000 that will be paid to Parks and Recreation. And so, I'm not real sure where that additional funds. I did not get an opportunity to ask that question to Ms. Case today. You will see on the second page, the balance sheet is showing how much is in the bank account. There are two accounts, and there is one question that Teresa said I would need to ask you about.
Yeah, I just noted on that, what's showing up is legal and admin fees on that. That $25,000 to John Nicholson is from the ARPA grant, which is technically it's not our money. We're the placeholder for it. We have a 5 tourism group, us, the county, Wolf County, Lee, and
Albert.
No, not Albert. Estill. Yes, Estill came in. And we received the $250,000 wayfinding grant. Mr. Nicholson is in charge of that and has pretty much took control of that and done all the work. And as a group, we agreed to pay him 7 installments of $5,000 apiece. So the last one, actually, the check signed tonight, but that's over after this period.
So, and just to make the note, that just kind of made it confusing because it was not separated out on a separate line.
Yeah, it should, that's a completely different, it's not our money at all.
Right.
It's the regional project. It's not, that's why we have a separate account, because that's, like I said, it's not, our money individually, so.
So that is just needing to be separated out. It does not need to be under
No.
that account.
No, like I
that
said,
legal
anything
special
that
fees.
comes out of that account is, like I said, it's part of that ARPA grant, and, we're a part of the, 5 tourism groups, and we're the head of that, but, like I said, it's not ours individually to spend or anything like that.
So then you go to the profit and loss budget versus actual, and we kind of discussed that. That is giving you for July through October, so 4 full months. and we discussed the differences that I was seeing. And then behind that is the bank statements, from Whitaker Bank, and, then the reconciliation reports that were given to me. And then, Commissioner Johnson spoke about the question on the, professional fees. And then, I've already spoke to y'all about the tourism, tax expense that was paid out. And if you look a little further back, you'll have these two spreadsheets. You should have these two. And this is, transient sales tax and restaurant sales tax. And so these are where I got the figures from of what the income should have been. So what this is saying to me is that the income is $142,998 for this fiscal year, but we've only got income in restaurant tax of $88,855.45.
Is there any questions for Ms. Webb about the information presented? Please.
I guess, and just for anybody else's, your background, you are an accountant and have an accounting background. So,
I do.
Okay, very good.
I guess I have a question.
Yes, sir.
As far as, since our last meeting, I know there were some discussions as far as the city providing information. Has the city provided you with information you requested?
Yes, sir, and Chairman Hurd did state that we did get the flash drive, we got a flash drive, we didn't get a live drive, we didn't get a live version. But it is not the same, it's more for governmental use, and so it was not compatible with the Pro Series of QuickBooks, and so we were not able to get in there to be able to pull the report, so then I come back and ask Teresa for.
Do you know if it can be made compatible? Or?
It would, yes, it could. It would cost a lot of money to do that, from what I understand, but I'm not
I guess the point I was wanting to make, when we left here last time, it seemed like we were all in agreement that the city and the Tourism Commission would do whatever they could to exchange that information. I wanted to make sure that you guys were satisfied. I think that I had the clerk call a time or two. The responses that I received was that you all had received everything that you wanted.
And I was going to say, I think I stated very clearly at the beginning of the meeting that, especially with Mr. Means, that everything that was requested and asked for was complied with. And we were thankful for that. So that has been clearly stated. Please.
Yeah, one phone call that I had with Teresa, I think that the issue, as you stated, was a difference in QuickBooks files, and that the city is on a single user, one login version of QuickBooks that doesn't allow for a second login, second user to log in and be able to see all that. So the only thing that could be provided is not a read-only live copy, but a flash drive like you would give to your accountant to do taxes or whatever. So it's not something that would be to have that visibility near end. It would have to be something that was continually given. So there's an IT challenge there that's not going to allow for that correct visibility.
Do you believe it's something that can be corrected and provided?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, I mean, the technology exists for sure. I mean, it's definitely it would require a different version of QuickBooks, potentially more up to date, that has multiple user options. That'd be correct assessment. Okay.
Anybody else? Yes, sir, please.
The county tourism, it's a special government entity, separate from the county. So we pay our own bills. So we know what's been paid, what is to be paid. If we hire a executive director, we pay her too, and her benefits and everything. So that happens in a lot of counties. So that's not unheard of. Basically, the problem in here is getting the report on what been spent on the tourism dollars. We never get that report over the years. But, that can be done. I mean, we do, that's how we operate it now. So, did I understand you say that you're paying 50% the transit tax and restaurant tax? Or just restaurant tax?
The numbers show both.
Well, the room transit tax does not, 50% of it don't go to the city, just the restaurant tax. That was agreement, when you did the restaurant tax, the city would get 50%. And you give it to the city, and the city can give it to the recreation board or wherever they want it. But not 50% of transit tax.
I was just taking what figures have been
I don't know,
provided to me.
If that's the case, then they owe money back. I mean,
To whom, what was your understanding of the situation there, I guess?
when they passed the restaurant tax, the city wouldn't do the ordinance to do the restaurant tax unless they got half the tax. So the commission, the city commission agreed to that on the restaurant tax.
But not
Well,
on the
no.
transient.
And that started, the restaurant tax started when we were a county entity.
Where's the transit tax supposed to go to?
It goes to the board,
It goes-
yeah, it goes there, yeah.
Okay, so
There's
just
all the taxes.
100% of it, not.
100% of it, not 50%, 100% of it. I didn't know where I understood that or not, but it's just 50% of restaurant tax goes to the city. I had never seen the agreement, but I'm sure that's what the agreement was.
Scott, can you speak to that? I'm just, you aware?
I think that was approved by resolution, back 2017, something like
What does that mean, approved by resolution?
that. The commission agreed to do that.
To pay to pay 50% of transient?
I don't recall.
That's something we need to
That,
clear up.
that.
Yeah, I was just trying to.
That would be in the minutes. Back
I didn't
when we-
either.
Shortly after we formed. Now, what was referenced earlier about when we passed it, we'd get 50%. I know that was the situation with the restaurant tax. When we originally passed the restaurant tax many years ago, when the county was over it, but I can't recall the questions you're asking right now.
Anyone else? Yes, please.
I was just going to give some reference to that with the whole transient. So when that agreement was originally made with the city and the county, it was 50% of restaurant tax within the city limits would go to Parks and Rec. Transient would go to the county fully. When they split, then it was solely restaurant tax that was 50%. You can find that with your bylaws. But if you also want to look up the legal agreements with tourism, if you look up